Two of the Dresden wall hanging made from the scraps from the big Dresden Sew Along. So I'm just here. It's an hour different from yesterday. Yesterday I was on at 11. Today I'm on at noon, but I slept in today because I'm hurting. So anyway, so I'm gonna just pretty much continue from where I was yesterday by piecing the last of I cut, and the only thing I did off camera was I sewed these together, the whites, because remember I said I was going to add the lighter colors, one more, so that way I have 3 and 3, and then I'm just going to offset them because I laid it on the frame, and instead of just like making it look cool, I'm going to just put it together in blocks to make it easier, because there would have been no way to make that background, there would have been no way to hook it together in those other type of ways that I was thinking in my head. So I'm just going to make it simple, which helps everybody else who's following along. So who do we have here, Scotty?
Judy.
Hi, Judy.
Darlene.
Hi, Darlene.
Katrina.
Hi, Katrina.
She's at Joanne's. Marla.
Hi, Marla.
Suburban.
Hi, Suburban.
And Vicky.
Hi, Vicky.
That's
so I'm going to go ahead and just start by laying out my white ones, and then in an order, and no particular order, just going to lay them out, and I put them in groups of 2. Hi, Margaret. And all I'm going to do is sew them together. So, and just laying them here. Just need 20 blades. So I'm just going to repeat the process just like this, and then I'm just going to sew them together one at a time. I know it seems like a waste of thread and you can hook them in 2s, but I really want the order to stay there, and the only way for me to keep order is to just do one at a time. One more. So now all I have to do is sew them together. And all I'm doing is lining up the top V section. And then sew them through. Same thing as I was doing yesterday, or in video 1, if that helps. And then I'm just going to finger press them, add the next, and go all the way around until every single blade is put together.
You're almost done, goodness.
Yeah, this one's going to go a lot faster than the original project, because these are smaller, and I guess the smaller you do something, the faster it goes. May not always be the rule. But for this, it definitely goes a lot faster. And just remember, every number that I give you for all the things that I'm doing here is all verbal. I mean, verbal and visual. There's no directions on paper. We're kind of just building a smaller Dresden unit than what we did with the Sew Along.
This is just finishing up the Sew Along, right?
Yeah, this is the last of it, and then we won't have Dresdens for a very long time, because I think I'm Dresdened out of it. Although I may end up doing it again someday soon, because I actually love piecing Dresden.
Hey, Auntie Ann.
Hello, Auntie Ann. Welcome, welcome, welcome to those that are joining. I'm on a little bit different time today, but for those that are joining, I slept in. There's nothing wrong with a little sleeping in. So hopefully everybody's doing good today and had a wonderful Memorial Day. We went next door to the neighbor's house, and My neighbor bought some, like, what would you call those? The little spinny flying things
Little
that you hook
slingshot
to a
rocket.
slingshot rocket things with lights on them. And I swear that was the funnest thing I have done in a very long time. But it did poop me out. Like, I literally am pooped. Because every time you slingshot them in the air and they spin up and come down, you have to go get it. You have to fetch the thing that you're slingshotting. And yeah, I was walking all over between the 3 houses of yards.
It was quite funny.
Yeah, and then CJ had to fetch them off the roofs because we landed them on 3 different roofs. It was quite funny, but they were really super fun to play with, let me tell you. So we had fun, and then their little girl had fireworks to play with, not play with, but to look at. Her mom tried to show her how to, get a firework off, but I don't think she was very comfortable yet. She's quite young.
Hi, Joanne. Hi, Jim.
And lots of food. I was so stuffed. Oh my goodness.
There was a lot of food.
I was stuffed.
Vicky says at least you had fun.
Yes. my body regrets having fun though, let me tell you.
Auntie Ann says no windows broken as I win.
No, one even landed on a windshield and it didn't crack it. They had like this rubber bottom so that they would fall, just right. And the higher they get, the harder they fall. No, the lower they were, the harder they fall. The higher they got, the slower it spun down.
Well, that's when the thingies were working and the spinning. Some of them were breaking and they were just falling straight down like a little mini missile.
Yeah. But they didn't hit that hard. We were able to catch some of them when they fell.
Yeah, the neighbor guy was getting pretty good at catching them. I never caught one. Old Butterfingers here dropped every one of them.
I caught quite a few. But yeah, it was quite fun. They had lights on them, so we were able to see them in the dark.
Yep, red, white, and blue.
Yep. It was the highlight of my evening. But it did wear me out.
Yeah. I ate so much I was still full this morning, if you guys can believe that. I didn't want to eat my first breakfast. I still did, but I didn't want to.
Alright, so first one is now together. This whole entire time I've been pressing my seams to the right, so you can see it lays pretty flat, just sitting here on my extended table thing for my machine. So I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm just going to use my iron to make sure that all of the seams, I just give it a slight little tug just to push these seams down with some heat so that they stay nice and flat. And you can see, even after it's first pressed, look at how flat that thing is. The smaller these Dresdens get, the flatter they lay. I said this yesterday. It makes it so easy to put them together. I'm just going to put some steam on it.
Suburban says, I don't believe you, LOL. If Tiff was having fun, you should have saw her. She was like a little kid. Auntie Ann says a retriever dog would have come in handy.
Alright, so here is a
yes,
little...
they would have.
Here's a little light one. So now I have 3 light Dresdens, and soon I will have 3 dark ones. So let's move this out of my way again. I'm just going to lay these out. No particular order. Just want them to go right in here.
Oh, she says, I believe Tiffany. I don't believe you weren't hungry. It was only for my first breakfast, and I still ate my first breakfast. I was just didn't feel hungry.
He ate a lot. He was eating and eating and eating and eating. Oh, and eating some more.
Katrina spent $200 at Sherry's, so I guess she had fun at Joann's. But then again, at Joann's, $200 isn't very hard to spend.
No. Alright, so now to sew all these together. Same as before, and then I'll have all of the Dresdens made, and then all I have to do is cut some background fabric for them to sit on, and then I'll pull out the other machines so that I can applique them.
Hi, BJ.
Welcome everybody joining in. Just continuing on from where we were yesterday, but today I'll get to start appliquing these because, like I said, they go faster the smaller they are.
Auntie Anne bought a block of ash wood instead of those expensive clappers to flatten her Dresden.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know what any of that meant, but
It's like a wood block like this,
she said it
and
worked
then
like
when
a
you
charm.
heat it with the iron, and then you just lay this on it, and it holds the heat on the.
Oh, nifty.
Yeah.
Hi, Angela. Uh-oh, she's making a funny face. What happened?
Oh, my tension looks like it's a little off, but I could be running out of bobbin as well. Oh, that's better. It's just running out of bobbin. It's going to loosen. It usually does not happen with this machine. It's weird that I can hear it. It's the weirdest thing, like the weird sound it makes when it's off. You can hear it in the stitching. It's a little bit more of a struggle when you get used to it.
Well, you are very talented, my love. You know your profession.
Come on.
Like a good mechanic can listen to a car and tell you what's wrong. You can hear when your
Machine's tension is off.
machine's acting up.
Yep. It's gonna be such a cute wall hanger when it's done, even when it's being stuck into a frame, which is perfectly fine. Can you give me a cold water, please?
Of course.
I totally forgot to grab them when I came in here.
Of course. Would you say anything instead? Just water?
Just
Okay.
water. Just a few more blades and I'll be completely done sewing the blades together. As you can tell, it goes so fast. Even the pressing of them goes faster. They're smaller at the top V when you fold it in, so they press easier. And they lay down flatter, faster. It makes lots of sense, actually. It's just the way they are. The bigger they are, the more you have to adjust them, but the smaller they are, the less you have to adjust.
Angela says you look tired, Tiff.
I am. But I'm going to keep going because I want to get this done.
Plus she enjoys hanging out with her quilting fans. And friends. And family. The 3 F's. The friends, fans, and family, huh?
Alright, 2 more. And then I just combine it and it'll be done. And we can cut some background. I have come to the decision that I don't think I'm going to do sashing. I'm just going to put them on blocks and put them together. And if I want, I could applique anything into the emptiness. And we'll see how that goes real quick. Alright, so now I'm going to put the 2 start and stop together. again, all I did was press everything to the right as I went. And look at that. It lays so flat. So flat. It's wonderful. And the iron turned itself off. That's not wonderful.
Is there a way I can make that board level back out for you instead of being so warped?
I think we can heat it up. Maybe.
Yeah.
Lay it outside in the heat the opposite direction. You know?
Yeah, because that sucker's really warped.
Oh yeah, they both are. It's fine though. These really are just meant for travel, by the way, guys. These Quilting Press June Taylor mats. They ruin your blades. It's a different material. They're not smooth. If they would have put the smooth cutting mat on the backs of these, it would have been great. But the second problem is when you're heating on one side, especially if you use steam like I do, they just tend to pucker up and they don't last. I mean, obviously they last. You just mainly have it as a pressing mat. The cutting side, it's definitely not usable. It's a very rough surface, so. But for travel, if it's all you got, you know, then it works.
Hi, Kim.
Hello, hello. Alright, so I'm pressing from the rear first. That way it's nice and flat, which has no issue getting flat.
Nancy Ann is doing decorative applique stitches to quilt her Dresden to their quilt sandwich squares. She used a glue stick to stick them to the background.
Yep, I'm just going to be doing something simple too. Alright, so here we have it. All of my Dresdens are now made. And what I need to do is to get yourself an accurate measurement, depending on how big you want your, I'm trying to go into a 24-inch frame. Since I'm not going to do sashing, my magic number for 24 is going to be a 12.5-inch block. But I'm actually going to cut a 13-inch block instead because I'm going to be appliquing these down. I'm going to put it together and then I'll trim it to perfection to the frame, just in case. I'm not going to be wasting much, probably just a 1/2 inch all the way around. But I definitely suggest you take your Dresden, you lay it on a line down here and a line up here, and you go, okay, well that lands at 10 1/4. So you need to have at least an 11.5-inch block for it to be perfect, because once you start stitching. But we're going to go on bigger blocks, so I'm going to have lots of empty space in the background, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead, and the dark fabrics are going to go on this right here. I'm just going to lay it so that you can see, and then the light fabrics are going to go on this one.
That looks awesome.
Right here, as you can see, so that it'll set off. So I'm using up all of my leftovers from everything. So I'm going to go ahead and from this fabric, and let's actually look at my scraps and see if I even have something that might already be. No, there's no 13 inches there. Definitely. That would be the size if I wasn't adding. So none of these are going to be that size because those are our leftover cutoffs. We're going to go ahead and cut off from this.
Do you think you're going to quilt the same thing on this as you do the quilt when you get to it?
No.
When your handlebars come back?
Nope.
You're going to do two totally different?
Yep.
I think it'll look cool.
Okay, so I'm going to go like this, folding it in half. To make it easy, I did make it nice and straight. I'm going to cut a straight line to start, making sure everything's on a line on my cutting mat. I'm going to go ahead and grab a rotary blade for at least this hand to make my original first cut. Since I don't have a left-handed martelli, I only have a right-handed one. Although I'm pretty sure I could use both. I'm going to leave that out.
Kim says that's going to look great.
And we're going to come over 13 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13. And I totally want to make sure. Okay, 21. Alright, so I'm going to come over 13 inches and I'm going to make a cut, and I need 3 blocks because I have 3. So this I don't need. And we're going to turn this, open it up. Ooh, it needs to be pressed. We're just going to bring it over here because I don't really want to lift that up just to do that. needed to be a little bit flatter than it was. Alright. So we're going to come over here with our 13-inch strip. I'm going to cut off the selvage from one end. I'm just going to cut one at a time.
We don't know, Marla. They haven't even got to look at them yet. So
What?
it could be 1 week, it could be 2 weeks. How long will it take
Oh,
for your
yeah.
handlebars to come?
No idea on that. Oh, that's not going to work. Go back to my left-handed. I can't use these rotary cutters yet with my right hand.
You me to cut something?
No.
Okay.
So we're going to come over 13 inches because I have it laying on that. So there's one 13-inch, and I need 3. So I'm going to just cut 2 more. Should be enough to get all 3 from this strip of fabric. And like I said, I'm cutting mine oversized because once I put it together and put it in the frame, I will trim it down to the size of the plexiglass. Alright, there's number 2. And let's line up the 3rd one. I'm just using the cutting mat as my guide. Go on. And 3. And it looks like we'll have a 4-inch strip left. So from this leftover, because I need something for my centers, and I'm just going to use this, I'm going to cut a 4-inch strip off of here, because these are going to be my centers. And then we're going to turn it to the side and cut 4-inch subcuts. I should get 3 of them, I think. Yep. Get 3, because I only have 3 blocks to make. So I'll get everything from my 13-inch cut that I need.
It's okay,
These are
darling. You
for
can
my
go back and
centers.
watch it when Tiff's done here. And you'll see the second one, then the first one.
Alright, now let's take the next color, which is my black, which was the border fabric on the big quilt. Because the big quilt's going to get bound in, I'm pretty sure I'm going to bind it in the, actually I'm not pretty sure yet. I think I'm going to bind it in the fabric for the backing. Because I think that will look cool.
So it's going to be backed and bound in the same color?
Yeah. Because it kind of goes with it, you know.
I was thinking instead of using the same 2 colors to do the middle thing, maybe you could use a piece of the backing to do the middle and the white one.
No.
But I didn't think you'd like that idea.
No, because I have to cut that fabric. So I'm going to come over 13 inches, making my first cut. And I don't need this anymore. It's going to be the same exact thing. I'm going to open it up. I don't really need to press this one. We're going to cut off the selvage on the one end. We're going to come over 13, 13, and then cut off that last 4-inch piece, because I'm putting this, what I put on out here is going in the center as well for my center circle. So we're going to come over 13. Like I said, I'm making mine oversized and I'm not putting stashing for this project. There's 1. Maybe I do want to press that down so it stays nice and flat. It's better when they lay flat. I don't always press my fabric though when I'm doing this. Alright, cut over number 2. Alright, and one more time. Line it up.
Am I supposed to be ironing those or anything?
No.
Okay.
Just gonna line it up, cut at the 13 mark, because like I said, I'm making mine a little bit bigger. And then my last piece, we're gonna cut into a 4-inch strip, which pretty much just cuts off the selvage, and then 3 4-inch subcuts. This is for my center circles because I have 3 Dresdens. It works out perfect. Alright, now all those are ready. So, this is what's going to happen here. So you can see, I'll lay these right here. We're going to grab the white ones. We're going to fold them and center the, on this, obviously. So those will go there, and then they're going to have this in the center, obviously, as a circle. We'll make a circle. But I'm going to go ahead and fold these in half, the same as I did with the big Dresdens. I just fold it in half.
What about all those other extra colors? What are those being used for?
I don't know yet.
Oh.
And then fold it in half again, and I'm going to come over to the iron and make a crease on both the sides. So on this top side and down on this bottom side so that I could have a center to line my Dresdens up.
Do you want me to turn the camera over there more? They can see you at the section, but
So now you can see I have creased, but I didn't crease the whole way through. And because I made these ones a lot bigger, I'm actually going to line these ones up point to point instead of in the V, because these ones are big enough for me to have plenty of trimming space or whatever, you know, I want. So there's one, and where's my little tiny bit? I have these super little tiny pins. I'm going to take this over to the iron. Let that out of the way. I'm going to iron it really super duper flat onto the actual background fabric.
how many blades
And
are in
then
this
pin it.
Dresden?
20. They always have 20. Well, at least this angle.
Okay. Angela asked, so.
Alright, so this is like perfectly flat on here. And now I'm going to go ahead and use these super tiny, tiny ironable pins that I have to grab onto this. I'm just going to go all the way around. I usually poke myself, and these are like super duper sharp little pins. But I'm going to put them just around the Dresden in the center, just to get them all down, and then I'm going to pull out the Brother machine and thread it with a cream color. Even on the black, it's going to sit with a cream color. So instead of gluing these down like I did on the big Dresdens, these are small enough to just throw some pins in it.
I was going to say you're not going to use your little...
Nope, these are so
Use
small.
little
The big ones
pig
is the
pieces?
reason why I do that on the big ones is because they are so big. Yeah. On these ones, I just hold both layers.
Auntie Ann hates pinning, that's why she
Yep.
used the glue.
I don't like pinning either. Trust me, I do not. But these are iron safe pins. Well, they're supposed to be at least. Alright. So here's one. And what we're going to do is we're going to do one at a time. You can actually fold these and make a crease with the iron for me. You know, fold it exactly in half. And then fold it exactly in half like this.
I'm not going to yell that.
Make a crease so that they can get centered, and you can do it with those as well. Okay, just
Okay.
iron here and iron there.
You sure?
Alright,
Okay.
what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a little center circle. You can just unplug this thing.
Okay. You got all those other colors. You sure you don't want to look for a different color? I'm using the same?
No, I want the black. I think it looks awesome.
Okay, put it.
We're going to pull that off of there. I'm going to put my little table on here because I want it nice and flat, and you can see how easy these go together. Just like that.
Should I just fold this in squares and iron it?
Mhm.
Alright.
But you're only ironing the edges. Right here. So that I have marks. That's it. We're gonna grab a nice cream colored thread for this. Cream. Do I not have any cream in this drawer? Nope.
So what edges?
Nope.
Which edges? Alright, pull the new one.
This edge and this edge. Alright, I'm gonna grab a cream thread real quick from my drawer.
Hi, Bettina.
I like this one better. We'll use that one. And I need a thread thingy. And I already have a bobbin in here, so that's okay. And yes, I'm going to stitch the Dresden outside down before putting my center on.
Okay, where do you want the hook on it?
This right there. This one.
Okay. What am I doing with these pieces?
Those are my
Oh,
centers.
I didn't know if I was ironing those too or what.
Alright, so I'm threading this machine real quick. Doesn't take long. There we go. Alright, now I can stitch. For now, I'm not putting the center on yet, I'll cut that in a minute. I'm going to stitch down the outside of the Dresden first. I know you guys are like, you're doing this all backwards.
So these two sides, right?
Yes, and all you have to do is pinch them down with the iron real quick. You don't have to go up on them or hold it down too long.
What I do is like that.
Yeah. I need a scrap so that I can see how wide my stitch length is real quick. So I'm going to choose a stitch. I want my blanket stitch number 15, but I also want to make sure my, oops, 1, 5.
Want me to bring the camera over to show them the machine?
Yeah. This is so small, I'm going to do a smaller one
Tiffy?
in a minute. We're going to make sure that that's perfect size. So we're going to do a 3.0 and a 3.5. I'll save that in case I hit the button again. Alright, we're going to bring you guys nice and close for just a little while I sew these. Right there. As long as you can see what I'm doing. Alright, here we go. So I'm just going to find one area to start. For some strange reason, this does not look flat. That's why I hate pinning.
Hi, Julie.
One of these pins caught it wrong. It's got to be right here somewhere.
So is this iron plugged in? Or am I done?
You're good. Alright. Just going to go ahead and put my needle down once on my end and start stitching. I'm only putting these on first and then I'll put my center circle on because I'm actually going to raw edge my center.
Julie says, I just love your lives.
Yeah, I'm going to cut the circle for the center and raw edge it.
Hi, Gisela. mean by raw edge? Is that different
It's
from
going
how
in
you
a
did the
frame.
others?
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it like I did the others. We're gonna do the raw edge.
Okay. That sucker bounces.
Yes, it does.
It's a bouncy ball.
So you can glue them, you can pin them, you can tack them down like I did with my big ones, but I just pin these little ones because it's just quick, easy. They're small. I hold it really nice when I do this. And something stuck. There we go.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's punchy.
I'm just stitching along the edge. And if there's any threads in the way, which there is right there, I'm just going to tuck them underneath. Literally hold it as best as I can all the way around. And I just watch where my needle lands.
Auntie Ann says when she appliqued hers down on the quilt sandwich blocks, the majority of the quilting was done. She says, I'll do a tiny bit of stipple quilting on the background on the blocks.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing these while it was hooked in on the batting, like appliquing them down while on the batting to be done and quilted, but I'm just going to stitch around it on that a different way once it's in the frame. Alright, I'm going to get rid of my start thread. Alright, almost done. this way just a smidge. There we go. And I'm done. Get rid of my start thread on the back. And then what I'm going to do is, so you can see here, I'm going to take my pins out because I don't need them no more. The only thing left to do now is to create my little center circle, which I'm just going to raw edge applique because there is no need for it to be glued down going in my frame. Now if you guys want to follow the sew along way where you put interfacing and then sew around the circle, then be my guest and do that if you're making yours however you want it. Obviously it's a wall hanging, but mine's going in a frame, so I'm just going to raw edge. So if you're curious about the raw edge applique, that is what's next. So give me a second to press this real quick, or I would, but the iron is unplugged.
You told me to.
I think that's the correct iron.
I just did what I was told, love. Don't be mad.
Okay. Alright, so while that's there, we're going to push this. Oops. I cannot hold this little thing for the life
Want
of
me
me.
to turn it over to the iron now?
No.
The
I'm
camera?
going to grab this little guy so you can see here's my square. I am just going to fold it in half and fold it in half onto itself. And I'm going to cut a circle out of it like I did before, except this time I am not I'm going to iron it real quick once the iron's hot, but I'm not following any circle. I just want to cut from one side to the other in a circular motion because I'm just raw edging. I'm not sewing anything else to this. Sorry you guys, here squeak for a second. Okay. So here it's pressed down just to make it nice and flat so you can see. I'm literally going to take my scissors and go from here in a circular motion from one side to the other so that when I open it up I have myself a circle, and I'm leaving it raw edged like this. So what I'm going to do is press it nice and flat. I'm going to bring my block over here. So here's the block.
You did that, honey.
I know this already has the block, but we got to cover all that up. I'm just going to center this circle on here, and I'm going to stitch now around the whole entire thing, and it's staying raw edge. So I want it to about right here. I'm just going to throw like 2 pins right here in the center, and it's sticking out
Nope,
the same
Squeak is a workhorse. He's at work.
all the way around. Let's see. It seems equal there. Yep. And it seems equal. Nope, needs to go up a little bit right there. There we go. That is equal now all the way around, and I just lost my other pin. I'm going to poke it through. So there's going to be 1 pin that way holding the center, and then we'll put 1 pin going this way holding the center. And I'm just going to now raw edge applique around this because, again, it does not matter. I'm going to put my needle down right on the edge, and now I'm just going to go all the way around this in a circle. This is going in frame, so for me, there is no need for glue. So normally we hook everything down and then glue it with our turned applique after sewing it, but this time we do not have to do that. And you don't have to follow this, you can do it the way we did the big Dresdens. Or else you can just lay it on here and sew it, like I'm doing. I'm going a little bit slower because I am on raw edge fabric.
Like the only time you see Tiff go slow.
Yeah. It's just because it's raw edge and it kind of like wants to shred as you sew. So I'm just holding it nice and tight as it comes up to the needle. Keeping my circle. And
he says her
I'm trying to
Walmart
keep
has
it.
fabric on sale.
Oh, that's good. I'm trying to keep it from puckering on my way around too. That's why the pins were there. You could glue it if you want.
What hopefully going to go to Walmart tomorrow, Vicky. So we shall see.
I'm holding it nice and flat so that I don't have any puckers. Go nice and slow. It's not my norm, but I'm doing it. Alright, so I'm going to have a tiny, tiny, tiny little pucker right here. It's so small. It should fit perfect though. Right in there. Let's lift the foot. Just a little tiny pucker. Okay, I'm going to go over my starting point by like 5 stitches. Break thread, pull that needle out because now it's not needed. Cut that off, cut my starting thread off, and trim from behind both those threads, even though it doesn't really matter because again it's going to be inside of a wall hanging. So here is the finished, what it looks like with the raw edge, like that.
That's cool.
So let me press it down real quick so that it doesn't look puckery from sewing it just now. That's some steam. And there. Can't push this out too much out of the way. So there we have our finished block. Just like that.
That's good.
So you can see I caught, oops, there it is right there. I caught all the raw edge all the way around, and since it's going to be in a frame, it's not really going to fray. You can see where it's starting, you know, that's why I went slow, because it's starting to fray. But if you want it the other way, then make sure you use your interfacing and sew those right sides together, so it would be the pokey side to the right side of the fabric, and then when you flip it out, pokey side will be out, and then you can glue it down. So here's the stitching all the way around. Ah, you can see. So that's what it looks like. So there's one. So let's do the dark on the light fabric now. So let me grab a light fabric one. We're going to lay this right here. So you can see I have my creases to line things up. And like I said, this time around, usually I line up the V, so that would have been this right here, with the V lined up with the crease. But this time, I'm actually lining up the point, because this is going in a frame and I have plenty of space. And what I'm going to do is go over to the iron real quick, and I'm going to flatten it where I want it, and then carefully move it back right to where I am. So I'm going to take this over to the iron. And I'm going to just run the iron over it, which you can't see. But I'm just heating the fabrics together. No, we're good. I'm just heating them together so that they stay nice where I want them. Oops, it shifted just ever so slightly. Just like that. I'm going to bring it over here. See how I'm holding it so that it stays flat while it's warm. And we're going to go ahead and throw some pins in it. So I'm going to try to push down to my mat and then lift the needle up. So I'm just pressed down towards my mat, lift the needle up. That way I'm not like puckering the fabric in any way. That's why, like on the last one, see how I just puckered like that? Try not to do that. I was turning as I was pinning. It helps. Keeping it from puckering, because those puckers will get permanently sewn in. So you want to try to keep it as flat as you can.
We're not buffering here, Auntie Anne. At least not now.
Oops, stay nice. These pins are very small and super sharp. Okay, one more pin should suffice. Right here. Oh, get in there. So everything's still nice and flat. And now we're going to go and stitch around the whole entire thing. Let's move the machine back to where I need it. We're going to tip the camera back up to where you can see.
Well, Vicky, when it's on sale, Tiff buys a lot too, so. We know the feeling.
Alright, so let's stitch all the way around this guy
Yeah, that's
now.
what I said earlier too. It's rare to see Tiff use pins.
Yes, it is. So I'm going to come down about right here and start my stitching. I did not change any numbers. Just holding it nice and flat. And I watch where my needle is gonna land, so that way I know it stays on the edge of the fabric. One more stitch, and his turn. Yes, you guys are getting to see the rare moments of me using pins.
It's a rarity, but it does happen.
There are times I use them, sort of. So I just watch where my needle is going to land. And this foot pedal has like a one stitch touch. So on this little brother machine, I can just like give it a one and it, you know what I mean? It stitches the one stitch. So it helps it with my going all the way around.
Giselle asks, is it hard to make a tutorial?
No. It's hard to keep a tutorial short on like bigger companies, how they build a block and then they already magically have 25 blocks made and they show you how it lays out. See, I don't pre-do that and pre-record that way.
Yeah.
I do mine live so you guys can see all the mistakes and everything and know that this is how it works in real life.
Hi, Bernie.
So today I'll just get by with the sewing of these and we'll put the camera back as soon as I'm done with this block. What did you say?
Sabrina says 2020 was the pandemic thing. In 2021, Tiff uses pins.
Right.
It says be afraid, be very afraid.
That's funny. You guys are silly. I'm just watching where my needle is going to land. There's no exact science. Sometimes it doesn't land where I thought and I go to turn it too soon, but sometimes.
Hi, Cherry.
Sometimes it lands where you want it. And as you can see, I'm holding both sides of the fabric. I'm not only holding the Dresden, but I actually have my other hand on the other side so that's not bunching anything up.
Giselle says good, I will continue watching instead.
Pin poked me. Ow, that pin poked me. Well, I'm trying to keep my hand in the center of the block, but I have to keep one or two fingers next to the Dresden edge, next to where I'm sewing. Notice I have my fingers lifted up so that I'm not poking myself. Even though I did poke myself. That's because I pulled away too quick. Alright, I'm almost to the beginning where I started. Go ahead and grab my little snips. Snip that away.
See you later, Gisela. Have a good night.
Yeah, see ya. Thank you for hanging out. So I don't know if you guys can see this. See this lip right here? It started to pucker because everything wasn't glued down. So I have like this opening where I can even stick my finger. You shouldn't be able to stick your finger in. So now I have to adjust the fabric so that that falls into place, because I don't want to pucker there. So when I'm done, I will have to press the block really nicely to get that to stay flat. This is another reason why I don't like pinning, because gluing helps it stay down flatter. So now you can see I have a slight pucker there. I don't like that, but again, I have no control over it unless I would have took the extra time to glue, which I didn't. So since I didn't glue, I have a little pucker, and I'm going to make that go away with the iron, obviously. Alright, so I'm going to pull away my start threads. I'm going to take these pins out because it's sewn down now. Put them in my little coffin, because that's what this little case looks like, is a coffin.
Okay.
So I'm going to put my little pins in here. They're so tiny, but they're super sharp and they do the job. So they're probably meant for like paper piecing or something, honestly, but I use them for this because they're thin. Alright, so can you tell just by looking at it? There's the little pucker. That shouldn't have happened, but I didn't glue anything down, so it's kind of like wrinkly. So I'm going to iron it real quick.
In the camera.
Yeah.
It can't be that bad.
I'm going to add some steam. A squeak.
Do you want a pin cushion for the rare occasions that you use pins, Darlene asks?
No, I have a magnetic one. And then I have little tomato pin cushions around here somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere over here.
I don't really use pins much, but I have this. I actually prefer this right here, this little magnetic tray, for when I do use them. Because when I drop them everywhere, I just take the magnet along the floor and I can pick them up. And then the rest of my pins are actually in the case that you purchase them in. So here's all my Dritz pins, just sits in a case.
Hi Mary. Mary asked, how did you decide to use a black background on the beige Dresden?
Because I thought it would look cool. I don't have a decision process here. Alright, so here's this. We're going to do this again. Here's my center. I'm going to go ahead and take this to the iron. I'm going to fold it in half, and then fold it in half again, and go to the iron, and I'm going to crease it just with the iron ever so slightly so that I can have not only registration marks but easy markings so that I can cut around my circle. So I'm just going to go ahead and press it. You guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'll be right over there to show you. So I just flattened it out. I'm going to take my scissors. Again, there is no circle I'm using. I'm just using my eyeballs to guide myself around just like this equally. And when I open it up, I should have a circle just like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line now my creases up on my block, and this circle is kind of ovaled, so I'm going to like circle it out real quick right here. Circle that out because it kind of looks a little oval. There we go. It still kind of looks a little oval, but that's okay. I'm going to use these registration marks from that. We're going to put it right here. And I'm raw edging. I also want the direction. See how the direction of the fabric? I want the direction of my circle also lined up. So I'm going to center this on that. Center that on that down there. Centering this on that and that on that. I'm going to iron it real quick. I want it to stay just like that. I'm going to iron it.
Hi Teresa.
I This one, for some reason, no matter what I do, it still doesn't look very circular. Hold on. I gotta fix this real quick because I'm not liking that.
Hi, Kathleen.
Hold on, guys. I'm trying
Yes, Jeff
to
is using squeak.
fix my circle here. Because I'm only doing this by eyeball today. There we go, that's better. Again, it's just raw edge, no big deal. I'm gonna use my registration mark, center it up on my little thingy. Still looks kind of dumb. Still looks kind of dumb.
Mary's here late, so she's curious. Since she missed it, why did you use glue instead of pinning?
Yeah, why didn't I use
why
glue?
didn't you use glue?
Oh, because I just
Instead.
pinned. Because this is going in a frame, so to me, it's okay. There we go, that's circular now. Whew, I was having trouble with that one. So I'm going to line it up. I'm not on camera, I'm over at the iron.
I can turn the camera.
No, it's fine. Again, it's going to get raw edge appliqued. I'm literally going to bring this over to here. I'm leaving everything exactly where I lined it up. I'm going to throw 2 pins in it real quick. Right where it sits. There. And 1 going opposite direction. There we go. And now, I'm just going to stitch around it. I'm going to drop my needle right at the edge, and I'm going to be very slow because, again, this is raw edge, and it's going to lift it because that's what it does. Turn as I go. Keep it all nice and flat. No glue. Not on today's project. And I broke thread somehow. Give me a second, guys. I gotta fix that. That is a rare occasion with this brother machine. I usually have no problems with this machine. My fingernails are kind of long, so it makes it hard to grab that. Let's find where I broke. Put that needle down about 1/4 of an inch before I ended. There we go. Adjust it. And there we go. I'm also going to remove my 2 pins, find my stitch from where I broke thread, pull the ones off the back, even though they're picking up everything that I've been tossing down. Alright, so there we have it. I'm going to press it real quick. so that my crease marks are gone. Sorry about that. Trying to get rid of these crease marks. Steam helps.
Ricky says they're pretty.
So again, if you see string or thread coming from that center, it's because it's raw edge. I can't control that. I will snip it all before it goes in the frame. So there's the center circle. You can see that I lined it up and down, up and down. So there it is. Oops, not even in the camera. I'm picking up thread everywhere. Clean up all my little threads real quick. That way they're out of the way. So this is the light with the light. You can see the stitching all the way around.
That's pretty. I like it.
So,
What do you guys think?
for now, I'm gonna just move
Hi,
this
Judy.
machine out of the way.
Do you move it this way?
No, it's fine. We're gonna grab this, and we're gonna grab this. Since you can see both of them. Let's see if I can't get these two side by side like this, maybe.
Darlene says looks good. I like it. BJ says pretty.
There we go. So that's what they're gonna be, like that, opposites in the frame. Can you
That's
see that?
cool. Yes, that looks cool.
So row one will have this, this, this again, and then the next row will be the opposite. That, this, that. You know what I mean? Once it's in the frame. And like I said, I'll trim away the excess after I've made the whole entire project, and then I'll trim it to the size of the glass. That's why I made them a little bit bigger. Like I said, 12.5 would fit in my 24, but once I take away this seam, I'm gonna have probably about 1/2 inch the rest of the way to cut. Plus I'm also gonna have quilting. A little bit of quilting is gonna take up some of this, you know, in the frame. So the only thing I have left to do now is hook 2 more to this and 2 more to these. And then the project will be ready to be sewn together. So for now,
Hi, Linda.
what I am going to do is put you guys regular camera again.
Linda says Tiffany does beautiful work. See you later, Suburban.
Take you guys back to here.
BJ says it looks better without the sashing.
Yeah, I'm not going to do sashing. I figured, you know what, just the dark light is going to look really good.
Judy says love it.
So I figured just the alternating of these is going to look great. Just like that. So for now, only because I'm not going to sew for a little while more today, I'm just going to move this machine out of my way.
I can move stuff.
Oops, it would be nice if I took that off. Just gonna put that out of my way for now. Just so that I can sit down right here. So that's all I'm going to do. Again, I'm raw edging if you want to use interfacing like I did with the Dresden Sew Along. I highly recommend doing that, especially since you're just going to be exposed. But raw edge, there's nothing wrong with raw edge applique. And you can use this as well. It's for applique, for raw edge. This is a paper that is 2-sided glue. One side is soft and smooth. The other side is the glue, which you put onto your fabric first. And you trace your circle, you know. Put the fabric on the glue side first, draw your circle out, and then peel off the paper after it's heated on, and then put it down. I'm not doing that. This is going in a frame. If this was going to be something that's for an actual non-framed wall project, I would have used this double-sided glue paper. Just if you guys are, it's Wonder Under. This one's 805 paperback fusible web. It works great, and as you see, I have a lot of it because I use it often. But a project like this, it's going in the frame. Those raw edges are never, ever going to fray because it's in a frame. So if you guys get yourself some Wonder Under, you can do it that way if you're going to do the raw edge too, or you can do it with the fusible interfacing and sew your circle and then flip it right side out and glue it down. So this is what I'm going to do. Later I'll finish sewing the rest of the white ones to the blacks, and the rest of the dark ones to the tan color.
Darlene wants to know what size did you cut the Dresdens, since she missed your first video
4
yesterday.
inch. So I cut 4-inch strips for my Dresdens. So they're made from 4-inch strips. On average, you can put these, if you're going to do sashing and all that kind of stuff, you can put these on a 11.5-inch block and have plenty of 12.5-inch even, so that you have 24 inches complete when they're sewn together. But I just went a little bit bigger so that I can trim down for the frame, and then I can also play with, I could play with leftover scraps and put polka dots all over this if I wanted to with the applique when it's sewn together. I could do whatever I want with it because there's going to be lots of empty space in the background. With that being said, so can you. You can do whatever you want. I'm pretty much just setting the play for you guys to take your scraps that are left over from our Dresden Sew Along and have fun with them. I'm going into a frame. You guys can make a wall hanging that's not going into an actual, you know, wood frame.
Kathleen says, I like these and the colors side by side. Really kick it up a notch.
Yes. And you can do this as a big quilt too. You don't even have to do this as a wall hanging. You can actually take your Dresdens from like the Sew Along and put them all on one opposites and just lay them all out. And then every time you have a combining two colors for 4, you know, like, here, let's just open this so that you can see. So say this one's on this side with this, you know what I mean? And this one is on this side with this. You can get creative because now you have all this open space without sashing. So you have this open space and you can do like really cool quilting there, or you can just take more applique stuff and put it right there. You know, the sky's the limit with this, you know. But this is technically what it's going to look like when it goes into the frame, by the way. It'll be like this. It'll be opposite. So the dark one will be up here, and another light one will be down below. So it'll be like this in the frame. Let's just lay it out so you guys have the general idea of what I'm doing, because I'll have the rest of today and probably tomorrow to get some of these sewn. So this is what it'll look like inside the frame. Just like this. I think that'll look super awesome, and it gives me a chance to maybe decorate inside the frame, like I said, with these empty areas, or down in this corner. It's just going on batting. There's no backing or anything involved in my quilt, so it's going to make it.
Is this 24 inches now, or is this too
No,
long?
it's a little bit bigger because
Yeah.
I was going to trim it down for the
Okay.
frame. I wanted to make it just a little bit bigger so that way I can exact cut it to the size of the plexiglass frame. So what I'll do is when I'm completed and quilted it and everything with just this and the batting, I'll take the actual plexiglass out of the frame, center it on top, and then trim away the excess on my mat. You know what I mean? And I won't cut with my rotary cutter against the plexiglass because it's actually too thin. I will line a ruler up on it, then cut, because that's the smart way to do it. I learned my lesson cutting plexiglass accidentally before, so. So yeah, this is what it will look like.
Linda says, very nice.
And I'm pretty sure it's going to be like, woo, you know, when you look at the frame when it's done. I will come back, not tomorrow, probably the next day, because tomorrow I have a doctor's appointment and I'll be too tired
That's what
to do
I was going to
anything.
mention. We'll probably be on Thursday.
Yeah, I'll probably come back Thursday, and then by
Between
then
11
I'll
to
have
12.
all the Dresdens. Hopefully I'll have all the Dresdens appliqued
CJ,
on.
you get that?
And then once all the Dresdens are appliqued on, when I come back Thursday, I'll show you how to sew them together, and then we'll quilt it just here on my Juki with some batting, and I'll quilt it up and we'll do the frame. So yeah, that's it. All right, so I'm gonna get off of here, guys, and I
What?
thank you for joining me. It's for you.
Huh?
The neighbor first.
Okay, we'll tell them to wait, that we're doing something.
Okay. Anyway, I will see you guys on Thursday, most likely. Don't keep your hopes up, because obviously my schedule is weird as crazy and spontaneous. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys are having fun putting together your side project wall hangings with the leftovers from the Dresden Sew Along. So, see you guys next time. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day, everybody.